maybe good afternoon for some of you. Thanks for this session. Let me start my presentation. Okay, so hopefully you already see my the title of my presentation. Shania, is it okay?
It's okay, Pak.
All right, thank you, Tanya. As requested by the UNS, the title of our discussion for this morning is the Fintech Policy and Regulatory Framework in Indonesia. And of course, I'll also look for fintech or digital finance. So the outline of my presentation, I organized into four sections. First, I will share just very briefly about digital disruption and its impact on business and also regulation. Second, just very briefly, also I'll talk about the digital economy and finance, what is key challenges and also opportunities, of course, in Indonesia context. And the third, I will continue with the Indonesian fintech landscape and also development. I aware that you already also meet some speakers and also attending a discussion regarding many topics, and I will not too much focus on the first three. I will more focus my talk to the fourth part, which is regulatory framework to drive digital and sustainable finance. Of course, in Indonesian context, but of course, it is also applied universally. So, what is digital disruption and its impact on business and regulation? Of course, you are aware that now we are living in a disruptive era, or maybe also some call it technology disruption or a digital era. So this era is at least characterized by three factors. First of all, that the enterprise now change their strategy, sort of more going to digital transformation by developing digital strategy, using data analytic for a better decision making, and also more sort of effective to achieve their goals and target. And of course, within this digital era, now the format of connection is now much easier. You know, you can use, we can now work anytime, anywhere, or any place. So what is the impact of this technology disruption? First of all, of course, it will impact the business overall. And of course, also all of aspect of our life, education, health, social, even politics. But let us just focus on the business impact. First of all, with this technology disruption, now emerge what we call it a new business model. It is a disruptive business model with the emerge of fintech as a game changer. Because now fintech can offer any products or any service that institution, not in a traditional way, but in a more innovative ways, in more convenient, cheaper, faster, and also sort of providing better experience for customers. That's why also this technology disruption also changed how the customer behave and how the relationship between customer and the institution, especially the financial institution and also fintech. Because now the customer become part of the business strategy and the business process. The customer no longer just the customer as an object, but now become a partner of a financial institution, especially fintech. The third, of course, it also drive more severe or high competition, not only among fintech and incumbents, financial institution, but also with the big tech and also with other, entities. Now competition becoming more severe. So it also impact to the organization. Organization now getting leaner, more agile, more responsive to change, and now changing from sort of business as usual, sort of say a platform model. And the impact to the human capital is also very significant. Of course, now talent acquisition and management changing, the emerge or the coming of the millennium, right? As of course have also a better, even a different mindset and also attitude, and also it impacts the learning and development. How we learn, of course, before the technology advancement or COVID, actually now with the advance of technology, so now we can interact through sort of webinar or online learning and so on. And of course, it also impacts the leadership and culture. Now, the leader no longer effective if he or she just doing in a silo way, but now it requires kind of a more collaborative, more sort of matrix organization and a project-based management. And finally, it also impacts the regulation, how the supervisors and regulator set a better regulation sort of to adapt to the changing environment. So now regulation, I'll share later how we a regulator also change our mindset and our tools and the way we deal or interact with financial institution, especially the fintech and the startup. So what is the key challenges and opportunities with this digital economy and finance? Of course, as you are aware, Indonesia is a big country and also a big economy. It is one of the largest economy in the world, and also Indonesia also has a competitive advantage with have a very huge or a large demographic bonus with also a skilled workers and the raise of middle class, and also Indonesia has a very large number of medium or micro, small and medium enterprise. However, this is also kind of challenge because a large part of our MSME now still lack of access to the formal finance. It is kind of opportunity both for fintech and also for financial industry to serve the customer better and then to serve the unbanked population. And of course, as a large country with a very large number of population, Indonesia is also one of the largest internet users and also mobile phone users that allow Indonesia to innovate and then to become leading innovators in the world. I just skip this. You can read it later to save our time. And of course, Indonesia, in terms of the volume or the scale of internet economy, is one of the largest in Southeast Asia, at least $100 billion as projected by Google and Temasek in 2018. I will not go further on this because I think you already have a discussion in more in depth with the previous speakers or previous session. So, what's now the challenge? First of all, as large country and large population with a large scale of face at least two key challenges. First of all, the low financial inclusion. The financial inclusion means that the total number of adult population who has access to the formal financial institution, meaning they have a saving account, or even better, they have already received some loan facility or other product or services by financial institution. So according to the World Bank in 2017, our financial inclusion index, the total adult people who has account in the bank to divided by total population is less than 50%. Of course, according to OJK, Indonesian Financial Services Authority, the number is a bit higher, around 63 or 65%. However, I think this problem is not only exists in Indonesia. I think this is a worldwide problem, including in developed country. So in one side, this is a kind of challenge, but on the other side, this also opportunities for fintech and also financial institutions to transform themselves, to change their business model, to change their strategy and tools and process to serve this unbanked population. The second one on the right side, this also a large gap of SME financing, small and medium enterprise financing. As I mentioned earlier, we have at least more than 70 or even 80 million number of MSME, but most of them, I think approximately 70% of the MSME still, doesn't or do not have access to formal finance. And according to the World Bank, at least there is 160 billion US dollar gaps on MSME financing. This is also kind of opportunity if the fintech and also financial institution can, change their mindset, change their strategy and business model. So by the emerging of digital finance, including fintech and also digital banking or digital financial institution, they will improve services and business process, and also it will increase the velocity of money within the economy. That's the opportunity in one side and also challenge on the other side. So another challenge, I think this is also important for you to aware that with the high potential of the economic growth and economic potential bring by the digital or e-commerce or digital economy and finance, on the other side, we still have a very huge gap of digital talent. As you're aware, moving forward, we need more programming skills, machine learning, AI, deep learning, or also cybersecurity, and also how we can use that efficient, more transparent, and more distributed, or more decentralized model of financial service through the using blockchain or distributed ledgers. And of course, we also need to improve the soft skills, including creative thinking, negotiation skills, creativity, complex problem solving, and so on. So within Indonesian context, at least the 90% of fintech said that they still lack of suitable talent in Indonesia. I think this is a challenge for university or education institution, but also this kind of opportunity, like for UNS, I think congratulations to UNS for sort of devising or developing and offering this fintech online program. I think is part of our effort with OJK to sort of improve or prepare the readiness or the availability of digital talent. At least there are 3 top areas with the talent shortage in Indonesia, and I think it applies also to other countries: tech and software skills, product management, design, marketing, and so on. So the conclusion is we need to learn new skills. So what is the new skill that we need to learn further? So here I just borrow from one of famous research institution or think tank, call it World Economic Forum, or WEF 2018. So the World Economic Forum just lists top 10 today's most important skills, as you see on the right, on the left-hand side, yeah, starting from analytical thinking, complex problem solving, critical thinking and analysis, active learning and learning strategies, creativity, as I mentioned earlier, originality, and also initiative. This kind of skills that we need to develop. Of course, for you to develop, of course, they still need attention to detail, but later on, this will no longer a top 10, maybe top 30. Emotional intelligence, reasoning, problem solving, and also ideation, how you develop idea. Such, you know, you should study what we call it design thinking, you know. You can check it later in the Google. There are a lot of materials there. You need to develop that kind of capability to, you know, to ideate or to develop your innovative solution. Leadership and social influence, coordination and time management, of course, it will be diminished later. On the right-hand side, of course, there are still some of that I mentioned earlier still there, but also emerge new skills. Like in number 4, you see technology design and programming. Of course, now we need more and more programming now. Even one of our largest startup or fintech e-commerce, they have a learning center outside of Indonesia. They develop their learning center in India. Why? Because there is a lack of talent in Indonesia, right? And also system analysis and evaluation. Yeah, for you to note, for those of you who doesn't aware, I think you need to learn also what we call it, one discipline, call it systems thinking, right? System, not system, but system with S, systems thinking. What is a good book? One of the best book on a system thinking is The Fifth Discipline, yeah, Peter Senge from MIT, yeah, you can learn later, yeah. So what is the characteristic, or what is the mentality that digital talent should possess in this digital era? At least there are 4, right? First of all, critical thinker. Second, they have a self-awareness. They know their weaknesses. They know their strengths, and also they are have sort of empathy, you know, empathy, awareness, and also sort of social responsibility to the social problem, to the economic problem the facing by the society, right? And also like to experiment. This is a very important skills that you need to develop, because now the time is you know, a competition on innovation, competition on talent, right? And of course deliver result. So next we will discuss about Indonesian fintech landscape. I think on a previous session, you already shared by many speakers regarding this, but I will just focus on a few slides. First of all, we need to be aware of what it called a fintech ecosystem, right? The fintech itself is one part of the ecosystem. At least we can see from 4 different elements or factors. First of all, the policy side, you know, including regulation, including law and infrastructure that developed by the government and so on. And on a demand side including the corporates and also the customers. As a fintech player, or if you want to develop your career on a fintech area, you should understand it's now, as I mentioned earlier, it's now changing radically. Now the customer, especially the millennial, didn't want to go to the bank no more. They just use their gadget. They can use a digital platform. Digital banking anytime, anywhere, right? 24/7. And of course, the capital side, which is including the investors, and the talent side, as we mentioned earlier, this is related to the stakeholders such as academics, entrepreneurs, and also technology firms. So we need to sort of develop the right ecosystem in order for fintech and also for the financial industry to develop, to grow in more sort of productive and more responsible and sustainable way. So far, we are very happy that fintech development in Indonesia is very, very progressive, at least in two criteria or 2 perspectives. First of all, in terms of type of fintech, I think as also shared by earlier speakers, all type of fintech now already emerge or born here in Indonesia, and I think also in Asian countries, right? And in terms of number, at least now we have 364 fintech company, right? Starting from peer-to-peer lending. I think you already learned on a previous session. Peer-to-peer lending is no longer financial, because banking is financial intermediary, right? The lender and the borrower and the bank in the between as financial intermediation, right? But with the peer-to-peer lending, no longer financial intermediation, but financial disintermediation, because lender and borrower can connect, through the platform. This is the largest number in our fintech ecosystem, and also in terms of lending and also the borrower that you see on the right-hand side. I will not read out to you. You can read later. And of course, the second largest type of fintech in Indonesia is the payment. There are a lot of now payment platform now emerge or even grow up in Indonesia. I think in every corner in a mall or in a shopping area, you can see digital platform there that offer very, very convenient and also competitive promotion. Positioning, equity, wealth management, insurtech, and of course also it is important for you to aware that in addition to this peer-to-peer equity crowdfunding, investment, and so on, we have other digital finance. We call it inovasi keuangan digital in Indonesian term, IKD, or other digital finance, ODF. At least now there are 86 other digital finance now recorded in OJK. This is other digital finance that not included here, payment or peer-to-peer, that I will explain later on. So now at least we have 161 peer-to-peer lenders, right? Including we have 12 Sharia or Islamic peer-to-peer, and almost 94 trillion loan already disbursed around Indonesia, and of course Java is the center, still the center, and Sumatra, and now reach 21 million borrowers and more than 500,000 lenders. Right? So it's very promising growth of peer-to-peer. As alternative finance, they also bring the, a competition, and it brings also a new way of financing, new way of serving the unbanked population. So I will just leave this to you, at least good to mention that from the 86 other digital finance, we have 17 business models, or we call it clusters, family, right? So starting from EQIC, credit scoring, everything, yeah? There are many types, and from time to time, we observe that there are come up new kind of innovation and new models, So these clusters or models from time to time is tend to increase, right? So that's why we are very also very committed to drive to promote innovation within the OJK. And of course, based on this recorded fintech, we are also put into what we call it regulatory sandbox, sort of our laboratory testing to test the business model and also the soundness of the systems, the governance, and also in terms of customer protection that provided by this digital platform. So let us move to our main discussion on a regulatory framework to drive the why we should regulate financial technology or fintech. Because there are two sort of approach. One is to regulate fintech similar with the current or incumbent financial institution, meaning we will apply what we call it prudential regulation. Prudential regulation means that that require all the financial institution to comply to certain standards. For those of you that's aware of this, what we call it prudential regulation, it is regard capital, right? This capital adequacy. Second, regarding liquidity sufficiency. Regarding the asset quality, yeah, there is a regulation on that. So why? Because the objective of this prudential regulation is to mitigate the financial risk, the business risk that inherent with banking or non-banking business, right? So first of all, the main objective of regulation is to ensure that financial stability and also soundness or the healthiness or resiliency of the financial institution, including fintech, right? Second one, of course, because the financial services and product will be offered to the customer, so the customer also put their money or investment in the financial institution or the fintech, so the customer should be protected, right? So the second objective of prudential regulation is to protect the interests of the customer, right? The third one, of course, the objective of regulation is to for the interest of the society, in the sense that how the financial institution and also fintech can offer a better service, right? A better service of or product to the financial institution in terms of they are offering more convenient with a very reasonable price or even a cheaper price, and also they offer a sound and also a safe financial services and product, and so on. And also, of course, to add also convenience or experience to the customer. Then other objective of the financial regulation, in addition to the what we call it idiosyncratic risk. Idiosyncratic risk mean that there is a risk that financial institution will be fail, right? For instance, if a bank fail, right, it's okay. We cannot assure that every bank's always going concern. Of course, the priority is going concern one, but once a financial institution, you know, facing as a very severe problems, they may fail, but we still have what we call it financial safety net, right? In Indonesia, we call it lembaga penjamin simpanan, right? The deposit insurance. But what if the one of large institution is failed? It will have what we call it systemic risk, right? This is very dangerous that we experience in 97, 98 crisis, or even in also in 2008 crisis. We call it a systemic risk that, what to say, harm the whole financial sector or financial system. That we have to regulate to anticipate or to mitigate this systemic risk. And of course, we need to also to regulate or to set up good policy for financial sector in order to develop the right ecosystem, as I mentioned earlier. In order all of the key players and all stakeholders within the financial system can collaborate and play their role optimally to sort of to achieve what we call it. Okay, next, to achieve three set of objectives. First of all, stability, right? As I mentioned earlier, stable means we have a sound institution, yeah, bank, non-bank, like insurance, capital market, including also fintech should be sound, right? But stability is not sufficient. We need also sort of contributive or productive financial institution and also fintech, in the sense that they can provide access and also what to say financing, yeah, the right number of financing and also the right pricing to the society in order to as an engine of economic growth, right? But this is also not enough. We need also what we call it inclusive finance. Inclusive finance means that they are not only serving the have or what to say middle class or even high class society, but they also serve the poor, right? The unbanked population that, you know, still need also support in terms of financial access and also literacy. We have also three key components, right? So first of all, we have a regulator that should apply what we call it a balanced strategy, right? A balanced strategy, I'll explain later in next slide. So the key principle is balance between the stability and growth. So stability on the left, yeah, growth on the middle, and innovation on the right. So these three, element should be integrated together, including customer protection, right? That's for the regulator, should be holistic and balanced. And how the financial sector should also respond or adopt strategy. So the financial industry, including fintech, should be also more responsible, right? Responsible meaning that, of course, their traditional role or service is to provide financing, right? Just taking a loan or investment from society and then providing loan to the entrepreneurs, right? I think this is a very basic role, but of course they are now required to be more innovative, do financial innovation, improving their business model strategy in order to serve the customer better through empowerment. They need to empower the society, the customer, and not only empower, but they need to engage with the customer as a partner, right? Because when the third players, the customer is more sort of educated, more have access to the finance, and they are now more empowered, meaning they can also share, with their growth of their business. Once their business are growing, more healthy and more sustainable, meaning that the financial industry also more resilience, right? More resilience. Because, for instance, now in an era of COVID, many companies, especially large companies, facing financial difficulties. Now I think this time to change the strategy and business model, not only just focusing to the corporate sector, but also to the retail one, right? The MSME. This is a sort of a source of resiliency, a source of new growth, for source of sustainability for the economy and also finance. Okay. Mbak Sania, just remind me for another maybe 15 minutes, okay?
Yeah, you still have 15 minutes.
Okay. Berapa menit lagi, Mbak?
15 menit lagi, Bapak.
Okay, thank you. Another 15 minutes. So I'll try to very quickly already explain this to you. So what we mean by balance, at least there are two, we can see this from two perspectives, right? First of all, we can compare between benefit and risk. It should be balanced, right? If the risk is higher than benefits, it's not balanced. It's not sustainable. So on the right-hand side, you see, there are a lot of inherent risks within the financial institution, including fintech, right? Like, customer protection, operational risk, cyber risk, and other, business risks, right? And of course, with the come of innovation, there are also some provide more benefits, right? Customer satisfaction, customer experience, closing the SME financing gaps, improving literacy, and also improving financial inclusion. It's sort of, we should balance this together, right? So, and also in addition to that, with the coming of this fintech and also digital finance, it also offer diversity. Diversity, meaning more choice for the customer, to choose, right? And also they can, choose not only a silo product or services, but more integrated product. And also, of course, efficiency, cheaper, better, and also safer. Right? So second perspective is just to compare between current strategy and also new strategy. So as I mentioned to you, we at OJK now adopting, in addition to our old strategy, this is the blue one, right? We are adopting risk-based supervision and regulation. We are preserving financial stability. We are also maintaining customer protection and education. Of course, this is not enough, right? With the coming of this technology disruption and also the COVID-19 and also another maybe unknown, unknown challenge in the future. So we have to adopt a new strategy, at least 3, right? First of all, agile regulation and supervision. Agile means more adaptive, more responsive, and more principle-based. We are no longer need to, develop or prescribe very detailed regulation, but only the high level, just the principal ones, and leaving to the financial industry to develop the right or the suitable standard and operating procedures or guidelines for their business model, right? Of course, we also have now a new mandate, which is, to promote innovation. We at OJK, we have Infinity, a fintech center. You can have it in the last part of my presentation. Maybe I don't have much time to explain. Of course, we also adopt what we call it market conduct. Market conduct means in addition to the prudential supervision, prudential supervision, we set the prudential standard, and also we do examination to the bank, require bank to submit the report. We do financial institution and also fintech to look at their business themselves, right? By improving governance, risk management, compliance, by adopting RegTech and SupTech and something like that, right? Using technology, okay? So balanced strategy and holistic one. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, how we can compare between the incumbent financial institution, meaning bank and non-bank like insurance, with fintech. So the incumbent, we adopt prudential regulation, as I mentioned earlier, is heavy regulated, right? But the fintech, we cannot adopt the same regulation, right? Because why? The business model of fintech is very different. The way they operate is different, right? Their strategy is different. Their scale are also different, right? So, and they are very agile and very, fast growing. So we need to adopt what we call it activity-based approach. We cannot just, dictate the same regulation for the same fintech or type of fintech, right? Because type of fintech is also very diverse. As I mentioned to you, at least now we have 17 business model. Maybe in the future we have more than 20 or even 30 business model, right? So we have to adopt a different set of regulation for different business model, right? So this will create what we call it regulatory arbitrage. Yeah? Arbitrage meaning that if the bank is heavily regulated while the fintech is less regulated, it will create, unlevel playing field, right? It's not balanced, see? So meaning that more people or more businessmen will go for developing fintech, it will create what we call it a shadow banking, right? And also create potential systemic risk. We happen in China and other countries because the regulation on fintech is very limited. So there are a lot of fintech providing business or offer product and service to the customer like a bank, because fintech is not allowed providing product or service like a bank, because bank should be heavily regulated because their risk is high, because the risk is within the bank, right? Like different with fintech, the risk is within the investor, right? Because the fintech is just a platform, right? So how we can mitigate this regulatory arbitrage? At least we can apply four initiatives. First of all, we should define the scope and legal status of financial institution and fintech, right? So they should be regulated. They should be recorded and also supervised by OJK and also Bank of Indonesia for finance system, right? And second, of course, we also adopt risk-based supervision for fintech, right? Multi-tiers licensing, for the bank, it's not multi-tiers. That's, just one step, yeah? They provide business plan and then, propose their licensing to the OJK, and OJK will approve, and now you are a licensed banking institution. But for the fintech, we should adopt different ways, right? And also we need a kind of collaboration between agency, because fintech is international phenomena, right? Maybe the headquarter or the business or license in Singapore, but they offer product and services to Indonesia or Thailand or somewhere else, right? So we need collaboration. So this is what we call it multi-tiers licensing. So this is, I think, is quite a typical, yeah, OJK. Why we develop this? Because we differentiate into three sort of criteria. So in terms of innovation impact, if the impact to the financial institution is high, we should regulate more. So like a peer-to-peer, there is a need licensing for peer-to-peer equity crowdfunding or investment should be regulated, right? But if the innovation impact is low, so just need to be recorded or even registered within the OJK, right? The second one, the clarity of their business model and regulation. If the business model is more clear, more sort of we can standardize, so we can apply more sort of license sort of regulation, right? So also, if their legal status is more clear by rule, so we can sort of apply license like for bank, non-bank, like a fintech. But for the legal status which is not clear, probably maybe part of e-commerce, just a little bit maybe service regarding the information like aggregator, maybe we can just mandate them to record it, to be recorded or registered within OJK. So here within Indonesian context, we have quite good collaboration and coordination among agencies. Of course, BI responsible for payment system fintech, OJK with the other type of fintechs related to the financial services and product. We also have Ministry of Information and Communication and Technology, Kominfo, to regulate regarding the technology platform. And also we have Ministry of Trade. And of course, it's important to note we have quite established association. Yeah, the association is also responsible to formulate standard for the industry, code of conduct, and also to monitor, to some level, to do the oversight for the industry level and also for the member, right? So association in order to supervise or monitor the fintech industry development. Okay, in terms of OJK regulation, we call it Peraturan OJK or POJK, right? We have 4 now for the time being, and of course we are currently develop more regulation. At least we have OJK regulation number 13 on digital finance. This is a kind of umbrella regulation. There are at least 10 principles or 10 elements that should be comply by the fintech. And we have OJK regulation on peer-to-peer lending, POJK 77. We have also OJK regulation on digital banking, right? And the 4th one, we have OJK regulation on equity crowdfunding, right? So let me just very briefly inform you about how we approach the fintech licensing or monitoring system outside of peer-to-peer and equity crowdfunding. This is applied to other digital finance institutions. So the first one, all of the fintech institution, yeah, regardless of their type, as long as they offer a financial product and service to the customer, they should record, their company to OJK, right? so recorded, right? And after they apply recorded and then comply with a certain criteria, we choose or select some of them to put into our, we call it regulatory sandbox. It's a kind of live testing laboratorium to test the business model, the systems, and also the governance. And also we do this together with the fintech or innovators, and also in order to review the eligibility of their business model. So once their business model is feasible, so we require them to enter phase 3, which is registration. So meaning that once they are passing the testing in a regulatory sandbox, so they are now become what to say allowable to operate formally within the supervision or regulation of OJK, right? So I leave this for you. This we have 9 steps of regulatory sandbox, yeah, how we can test the business model. They do the presentation, we have a discussion, and then do also, this is a very important experiment in order to check the eligibility, if it's pass or pass. And this is the recording mechanism. There is also, at least we have 4 steps I just mentioned earlier, from the start until end. You can study this. I think this chart is self-explanatory. You can read this later if you are interested. And finally, of course, fintech is also bring some challenge to a customer and also to regulators, because we are also facing what we call it illegal fintech, right? So of course, OJK is mandated all fintech to register within OJK to have a license for a certain type of fintech, like peer-to-peer, equity crowdfunding, investment type of fintech, right? But a lot of them also offer product and services without, registering or recording to OJK. So how we approach this fintech? Of course, we have several types or several forms of supervisory action. Of course, we can write to the fintech, to ask them to record within the OJK, or we can apply fine, in terms of some number of sanction, financial sanction. We can cancel the approval or registration, or even we already closed 1,000 of illegal fintech with collaboration with Ministry of Communication and Technology. So within the OJK, for those of you who are interested to have research or maybe attachment or magang, attachment to OJK, we provide opportunity, to come to our Infinity. We call it Infinity, OJK Center for Digital Financial Technology, Innovation Center for Digital Financial Technology. So we just call it Infinity. We have 3 roles. We engage with stakeholders, with the fintech industry, including like UNS, Universitas 11 Maret, and other university to develop the fintech program, to develop innovation hub, something like that. And also we do a lot of socialization, sharing session, education. This is also, this session is part of our role, to share our regulatory approach, development on a fintech. And also we do examination through the regulatory sandbox. And we have also research center, we call it OJK Institute, OJK Institute, you can also visit OJK Institute. You can do their dissertation or thesis, or even you can just visit us, for a very short time to understand about OJK and also the fintech development. And of course, there is also opportunity for some kind of open working space. You can meet there with your friends, discussing about innovation and what is interest to you. So I leave this to you. OJK Digital Finance Initiative. We are starting in 2016, by establishing OJK Fintech Center. We call it Group Inovasi and Group Inovasi Keuangan Digital Finance Innovation Group. This is a small group, but we have fruitful discussion. Thank you.